Yeah, George, look, mate, it's weighing heavy on my mind. The golfing world, it's in trouble, man, and we even did a poll on Marcus's channel the other day, and the overwhelming majority was saying that they want tutorials, they want more of them. And it appears to me that Marcus has responded by swanning off to Portugal with the lads, having a good time.
There's been the odd Long Island iced tea.
If I'm honest, man, I don't think his head's in the game.
Yeah, mate, to be honest, I even saw him teaching Mark Foster a takeaway.
Yeah, it's a travesty. So, look, what I was thinking was, you need to get your ass down here, and we need to film a tutorial right now.
What, right now?
Yes, right now. So we can give the people what they want.
Right. Let's get to work.
In no other sport, activity, or motor skill that we execute to a certain degree of certainty do we seem to treat like golf.
And it is distinctly different from any other complex motor skill. We don't generally get in our car every morning wondering whether we're going to drive okay that day or not. We just get in it, we let it go, and we flow with it. And we maybe listen to the radio, have a conversation, drink a coffee, yet we still drive pretty much the same every single day.
Just like if I was to pick up the ball here and just give that to George straight away, he ain't thinking about it.
Or that.
Just doing it. Now you see this pretty well on every video that you watch on this channel. The famous hoop. And there's a lot of unease in the comments about Marcus being stood very close to people because he might get hit. The reason why we know we can stand so close and allow players to use this as their intent and play shots through it is because
a lot of people that come and visit us for lessons are really quite internally focused about their movement and what's about to happen, instead of being more externally focused about where they're going and how they're getting there. And this hoop allows us to really quickly switch their focus of attention from internal and what's going on around the ball to external and where that ball's about to go. So we can do away with this. And Robin, if you could help me out by moving around so I can play a draw. And you can see my body is starting to move around to make this swing as easy as possible to get some draw shape on. And if I wanted to fade the ball, as a right-hander, I would be swinging over to the left, and that hoop being over to the left of me helps me focus my attention on where this ball is going to launch and where it's going to move to. And if you'll notice, I haven't really looked down at the ball once, because I already saw where the ball was, I'm aware of where it is, and yes, when I'm about to play a shot, I will look down at the ball just to address it, but I will keep a very clear picture in my mind about what I've just been looking at and my intention of how I'm going to get this ball towards where I want to go. Now, of course, we're not always going to have a good looking lad like Robin out holding a hoop for us every time we take a golf shot, but there are a couple of things that you can try and bring into your practice and your game out on the course that are going to help you with being a bit more externally focused, so you can respond more naturally, more intuitively to the golf shot. So Robin, do you want to show us something that the guys at home can take into their practice or their game?
actually, George, I'd prefer not to, and I think I'll go to Portugal. Whether there's someone out there with a hoop or not, it doesn't mean that we can't apply the same principles. When you're stood over the ball for your golf shot, or even back here walking in, we can spend that time, rather than looking down here, looking out there. And I know you've seen a lot with the waggle and the paddling of the feet, just like when the hoop was moving around. George was using this space around the ball, whether he was consciously aware of it or not, because that's what his body wanted to do, to make the most comfortable swing possible for the task at hand. The idea is that really we're just trying to emphasise the point of letting this happen to dictate what's going on in here. And as you said earlier, having a shot tracer in your mind as well. It's an unbelievable visual, because as we've spoken about many a time, golf balls do not fly
Straight.
straight.
I mean, you probably will hit a straight golf shot in your life, completely by accident, every now and then. But, so really, we do want to play with shape. Sometimes big shapes, sometimes small shapes. But it is really important to remember, when you're visualising a shot, it's not just straight at the target, it is how is my ball getting there? As Robin said, is it low, is it high, is it somewhere in between? Is it left to right, right to left? That will be dictated by the shape of the hole, your kind of preferred shot shape, if you like, but also the wind direction on the day. To feed our body the information in order for it to respond and react to, really we do want to spend a lot of time looking where we're going and how we're getting there, and really having that clear shot tracer in our mind. We can do this whilst we're addressing the ball. So Robin, if you want to play a shot and look where you're going, suggest that flag in the distance and how you want to get there. So by his movement, he looks like he's going to try and fade it in there. He's opening up to the target, but if you notice, he's fixated on that target, and I'd imagine he's building a shot tracer in his mind. And if you notice, he spent half a second to a second looking at the ball, because that ball was never going to move. He already knew where it was, and so he's really fixated on where he's going, how he's getting there. Once he's got it clear in his mind, he's looking back at the ball just to make sure he's in the right position, pulling the trigger.
A lot of what we perceive to be natural has been learned, habitualised to, and sometimes we've got to just, in true cliche fashion, get out of our way to allow for this to happen, and for that we need chaos. And there's another drill we can introduce. So maybe if you're struggling with this a little some, regardless of hoop or no hoop, friend helping you out or not, to self-induce that chaos. And it seems a little crazy and you might get a few funny looks on the range, but George is very familiar with this drill. It's something that's been quite good to him over the years. The walk-in shot, and you would have seen this a few times on the channel, and it looks very nonchalant. But there's so much more to it than just walking into the ball and hitting it. A lot is going on, and the idea of all that stuff that's going on, your body's taken care of while that's happening.
And it's a bit of a myth buster as well, because if you are one of the victims, I would say, of this whole thing, and kind of must check everything, where everything must be in exactly the right position before you pull the trigger on that golf shot, well then if you just walk into it, it kind of gets rid of any idea that you have to go through that process to achieve a good golf shot. So look how much I'm moving the whole way through this.
Even when George addresses the ball then, he has movement on the way back.
I mean, I can take massive steps, I can kind of lean ahead of the ball, lean all the way back,
and pull the trigger. And the idea is that no matter how much chaos you find yourself in there, you still pull the trigger. And we can do it with a count. The count, again, it's subjective. Whether the individual wants to do it or not, I've found personally that you can get too fixated on the count, and then all of a sudden it's like prescribing to another swing method, or right elbow here or left knee there. But it can help in some situations. It depends on the individual. Who would have thought? We're all different, huh? And so we'll do it on a 6 count. For the right-handed golfers, you start with your right foot and you start walking in, and what we try and do is we let the pace of which you're walking in decide the tempo of the swing as well. So if you start on your right foot, we'll do a 6 count. 1, 2, 3 will be on the ball, 4, 5 this way, 6. And then just hold the finish and bring it down. If you're finding that to be a little bit too contrived, if you've got a mat like this, you can just say, okay, well, once my right foot, again if you're right-handed, lands on the mat, you can then move into it. So it'll be onto your right, then onto your left that way, right that way. And I wasn't even gripping the club, if you see my mat one, for the sake of trying to...
And just for a little bit more detail, you'll have seen probably both of us there sliding our club up to the ball, and so that really kind of gets your club in generally the right area to be able to take it away and go through the ball. So as Robin was saying, you start with the right and it's a 1, 2, 3 with the right foot, and the club is slid up behind the ball. 4 is forwards, 5 is back, 6 is through.
And if you could do that 4 one more time, George, just to show how much freedom there is on your right foot even before, as your weight goes forward. 3. See how his foot is
4.
Nowhere near where might be perceived to be the right place to make that swing, but it's dynamic. You're finding this in motion, just like George was moving around the ball, making half swings, not even looking at it, finding it in motion. And let's say, George, if we were playing football, for example, if you were to be hitting the ball with the outside of your right boot, you can play around with where you might want to walk in from. The more chaos, the better, because this is absurd. I highly doubt you would have seen anyone at the driving range doing some strange stuff like this, but is it strange? Because in the context of other sports, this is not strange at all. So George, let's try some more obscurity.
one I did with you way back in the day, Robin. I can even walk in from the wrong side.
I remember this, yeah, it's unbelievable. But it's not. Guys, this is so normal. This is how we learn things. We experiment, we explore, we play. We go into the uncertain territory to make it a little bit more certain the next time, and we get comfortable being uncomfortable.
This is what happens day in, day out. You'll see it on the videos with Marcus, you'll see it on videos with other people, in tutorials. Everyone can do this, and probably do it better than if you were to stand there and go through some kind of prescribed protocol of movement, checking where the club is, all this. Give it a go. Go to the driving range, leave that embarrassment complex at home, and just go to the driving range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And if you've got a GRF board, you can do your third count, so 1, 2, 3, you just land on the board and go with it. If you can make a board at home as well, that's great. What's even better in this particular context, I would say, just given this situation, is if you've got another person with you. If you've got a George, or you've got a Robin knocking around, or a mate. And George, this is one of our favourite drills. I don't class
Robin as a mate, by the way.
He does. Anyway, this is one of our favourite drills, George, if you'd like to take them out. Because, again, this is going to be a little strange in the context of golf, in the grand scheme of things. This ain't stupid. This is in fact really normal. This is how you play every other sport. If you've got someone, even really challenge yourself. Damn, ask a stranger in the bay next to you. God forbid that we might get communicating with someone else that we don't know and we make a new friend.
I'll probably just hit the best golf shot of my life then.
And refer them to this video if they think it's a little bit odd. And you know what? It's kind of fun.
Oh, it's great fun.
You see George is like, I'll just hit the best golf shot there. And you can do it, you can try and bounce it in, and again, and just go with it, roll with it, roll with it, roll with the punches, roll with the chaos. And your body, you might find it to be quite surprising what order it can make out of it.
Your body is a lot more intelligent and responsive than you give it credit for.
Guys, try out these drills. I hope you enjoyed it. More to come.
And if you didn't enjoy it, don't worry, Marcus will be back from Portugal at some point.
Yeah. Thumbs up. That's good, man.
Oh, the worst golf shot of the day.